We are delighted to have all of you with us this evening, and wasn't that jazz band great? I think if we clap for them, they'll hear it. We're very fortunate to have such talent here at GSW. I'm the executive director of the foundation, and I also work very closely with the Office of Alumni Affairs and the Alumni Association. It's our pleasure to host what we believe to be a first-of-its-kind event for GSW. You know, we look through the files and we think it's a first, but something could have gotten overlooked, so we're going to claim it anyway. The Alumni Association will continue to present the much coveted Aeolian and Lewin-Finkley Alumni Awards at a separate event. Tonight we have the honor of recognizing outstanding accomplishments of an alumni or an alumnus from every school and college. Our goal is to make this an annual event, so we thank you for joining us and we hope to see you at many more. Mr. Lamont Hall is president of the GSW Alumni Association, and we'll have the opportunity to hear more from him later this evening. I call on him now to deliver our invocation. Lamont?
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for your grace and mercy for one more day on this face of this earth. Lord, I want to thank you for blessing this great institution of ours. And when I say ours, thank you for giving it to us so that we can span our hand across this nation. As we award these alumni today, I want you to continue to bless them. Show the world what Georgia Southwestern is doing over in Southwest Georgia and how we're reaching our hand across this nation. Not just this nation, but this world. And Lord, I want you to bless this food that we're about to receive for the nourishment of our bodies, so that we can better serve and upbuild your kingdom. In your name I pray, amen.
What are you going to do?
You introduce me?
Not yet, we're going to eat first.
Okay. I'm going to sit back down.
Thank you. It's nice to have a president who follows orders. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I will be introducing him later on as well, but right now we're going to enjoy our dinner. So I invite the front tables to make your way into the hall, get your dinner, and come back, and then we'll work our way to the middle and then the back, so hopefully we won't all be crossing on top of each other so much. So if all the people at the front row up here in front of me, that's what I consider to be the front row, we'll go get your food and then come back in. We'll keep this moving. At Georgia Southwestern, we're fortunate to have the leadership of Dr. Charles Patterson as our interim president. And as you can tell, he's one that we can tease with, but he's very serious when it comes to academics and to grow in the university. He's extraordinarily committed to that, and we're grateful. Colleen Patterson, we're so glad that you could join us this evening, and we appreciate all that you do. And if you haven't already gotten to know Charles and Colleen Patterson and their son Aiden, I encourage you to do so. Join me in welcoming President Patterson to the podium.
Good morning, Hurricanes. Good morning. Good evening. Let me start over. Good evening. Man, if I haven't made an entrance tonight, I don't know what I've done. Stuttered and stopped, and anyway, it's a great pleasure to be here with you tonight. I'm Charles Patterson, the interim president, Georgia Southwestern State University. Very, very pleased to be with you here tonight. This is, as Rita Rao, who's our executive director of our foundation here, has said, this is one of our first events to welcome alumni to campus. Can anyone in the room ever remember coming to an alumni event here in this room like we are today? There's a lot of history in this room. All right, so that proves it, Rita. This is the first. It will not be the last, okay? This is an opportunity for us to engage our alumni, okay? And we're going to do more of this here on campus. We're going to do more of it in surrounding areas because that's what presidents do. I was in another town recently, And, and we had an alumni event there, and I took a little bit of heat for that. And I will tell you, as I was talking to the news reporter, and the news reporter asked me, why are you here? Why is the president here in this community? I said, well, don't you want your president talking to the alumni base? Where did you graduate from? And he told me. I said, don't you want your president talking to your alumni base? He said, absolutely. Don't you want your president out recruiting students to come to that university? Absolutely. Don't you want your president out talking to donors about the great things this university is doing? Yes, I do. Then quit giving me beef about being in your community, because this is what presidents do. So as I look around the room, I'm reminded of what attracted me to come to Georgia Southwestern State University. We have many faculty here, we have many staff, we have great alumni here that have joined us. You've driven some distance, many of you, to come and join us tonight, and that shows your commitment for Georgia Southwestern State University. And really, this is a great place to be. It is what has attracted Colleen and our son Aiden to come here, and really we're just blessed to be part of the university and the community of Americus, Georgia. We are a growing institution. When I came here a little over a year ago, I inherited an institution that had a couple of years of enrollment declines, and that has impacted us, there is no doubt, but we are on the way up. We have grown our enrollment in the last fall by about 3 1/3%. So for us, that's a little over 100 students. As we look at our applications, we look at our transfer applications, our graduate and undergraduate enrollment applications, we are going to be up again. And we're going to continue to grow this university. And I have every confidence that our faculty and staff, together with the administration, are going to grow this institution above the 3,000 mark within a couple of years. And that's a high water mark for us. That number is significant. The University System of Georgia expects us to grow, and that's what we're going to do. One of the things that one of my jobs is to really promote the assets of the university, and I've really inherited an institution with a very firm foundation, a very firm bedrock by which to grow that. And for example, our growth is going to be dependent upon the promotion of our assets, the development of new programs, the development of new services for our students. The scope of higher education in the state of Georgia and throughout the nation is changing rapidly. It's changing so fast, it's hard for our universities to keep up. But the foundation here at Georgia Southwestern is so strong because of people like you. It's so strong because our alumni give back to the institution. Our alumni tell their kids and their grandkids what a great university it was when they were here and what a great experience they had when they were here. I hear that time and time again from our alumni. Is Dr. So-and-so still there? He was so special when I was there. We had that intimate relationship as a student and a faculty member. When we hear students, when I talk to students across campus, I always ask them the question, what attracted you to come to Georgia Southwestern State University? And time and time I hear, I came and I visited and I fell in love with it. Or I came and I formed an affiliation for my department and the faculty that are there. And I don't want to leave. I hear that I had every intention to transfer to the University of Georgia or to Georgia Tech, but I stayed because I found my niche. And this is a university of niches. We have certain programs, we have certain services and interactions with faculty that no other university can claim. We are one of the smallest universities in the system. Some would look at that as a disadvantage. I look at it as an advantage because we attract a certain type of student that wants that relationship at a small university. One of the things that we're doing right now in development of new programs and the renovation of our facilities is we're matching our assets to meet regional and state needs. Okay, and I'll give you one example of that. In the Building of Fine Arts, we did a renovation in the last year and installed one of the second largest green screen facilities in the state of Georgia that's tied to a university. Okay, what is a green screen? Green screen is a very large backdrop by which movie and digital production is created. So a lot of the movies that we shoot today in the film industry use that green screen technology. Okay? We built that facility. We renovated that facility And it was a great opportunity to do it because of the emerging film industry in the state of Georgia. And what we plan to do is become one of only 4 institutions out of the 29 institutions in the state that can offer a certificate in film production. Okay? That allows us to gain entrance into the Georgia Film Academy. That's an initiative of Governor Deal. That's just one example of the direction that we're headed. We've developed new programs over the last year in criminal justice. We've developed new programs in the Family Nurse Practitioner Program. We have those strong ties and collaborations with the state and some of our hospitals and private industry here in the region. And it's all the things that a university of our size and our vision should be doing. And I'm really, really proud of all of our faculty, staff, and administrators that have helped us to move in that direction. But that one thing that makes us special, that one thing that ties our students to our faculty will always remain. It's a part of our history, and that will never change. I want to brag, if I can, for just a second on a few of our deans. Many of our deans are here in the room, and I just want to mention a few things. That under the leadership of Dean Liz Wilson and our School of Business, we've received several national rankings. The Human Resource Management degree was recently recognized as one of the 50 most affordable small colleges for an HR degree, and one of only 2 colleges in Georgia to make that list. That, again, is one of our niches. We are a small college. Again, we're very proud of that, but we're also very, very affordable for our students. Many of our students are first-generation college students, and we're serving a region in Southwest Georgia that has seen some depressed economic environments. So we're very proud of being an affordable institution. The MBA program in the School of Business was ranked 13th among 50 most affordable MBA programs in the country. Our accounting graduates also excel at the latest CPA exam that GSW was ranked in the top 25 of the nation's medium-sized programs, and number 3 among schools in Georgia. So we're graduating those students in business that are prepared to go out and get worthwhile positions in the business. Recently, within the past month, I appointed Dean Rachel Abbott as our permanent Dean of Education, as she has served in the interim role for some time, and I certainly know what that's like. The school recently received the National Council on Teacher Quality ranking as a top 5, again, best value in Georgia, with the undergraduate secondary education program ranked at number 3. The Sumter County Teacher of the Year is also a Georgia Southwestern graduate. Dean Boris Feltzberger, here at our table, was leading the School of Computing and Mathematics, and he and his team recently hosted the 42nd annual high school math tournament for approximately 450 students from 50 high schools across Georgia. Just out of curiosity, does anyone in this room, were you ever a competitor in that math tournament? Ah, Bill Harris Jr. back there. I love it. I had an well, I wouldn't either. So, but I had the opportunity to attend that tournament this year. It was really a great turnout for our students to be on our campus, those prospective students to see what Georgia Southwestern has to offer. I also want to send congratulations to Dean Sandra Daniel and the School of Nursing. Just the last week, they were recognized in their Master of Science program in nursing as one of the best 50 graduate programs in America. Okay? One of the best graduate nursing programs in America. And the School of Nursing was recently ranked 38th in the nation for the best online program in nursing. One of 5 universities in Georgia, again, to make that list. The College of Arts and Sciences. Right? The College of Arts and Sciences, led by Dean Kelly McCoy here at my table again, completed the renovation of the Fine Arts facility, which I mentioned had that green screen technology installed. And it's really serving as a great foray into the film industry. And we are one of the only institutions in the entire state of Georgia that has a film in post-production. Okay? That means the film has been shot, the film is being edited for release. And that's a great accolade for this university. So if I sound proud, it's because I am. Again, I think Colleen and I are very, very blessed to serve at this institution, and we look forward to serving for as long as we can. I really do see a bright future for Georgia Southwestern, and hopefully I can be part of that. This list of excellence in programs and activities is short because I've probably taken more time than Rita actually was going to allow me to take. But these achievements, among many others, are indicative of what Georgia Southwestern State University has to offer. A quality, affordable education, preparing students for successful lives and personal and professional accomplishments is what we're all about. So again, I thank you, Colleen and I thank you for all that you have done for Georgia Southwestern State University and all that you will do in the future to support this great institution. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, President Patterson. To go through the right pages. I apparently made a lot of copies of the script and didn't share them with anyone. But they were here. Our speaker this evening is from the class of '59, and I think I see Mr. Earl and Miss Barbara, class of '49, is that right? 50 and 51, I was so close. Is there anybody here from prior to the class of 50 and 51? We're delighted to have you both here. Oh, wait a minute. You're 51? Brother Bill Dupree is class of 51 as well. Were you on that famous baseball team too? The answer's no. I hear all kinds of stories about Mr. Earl being known as Cutter Gamage and his feats on the baseball field. So we're delighted to have those of you from some of our older classes and those of you from our recent classes as well. And as I said, our speaker is Dr. James E. Melvin, and he enjoys a nationwide reputation as a speaker and entertainer. Prior to pursuing his present career, Dr. Melvin served as superintendent of schools for 4 divisions in 3 different states. Dr. Melvin has a versatile background in education. He's been a teacher at the elementary, secondary, and college levels. He's also served as a principal at the elementary and secondary levels. Prior to his years as a school administrator, he had an outstanding career as a high school and college basketball coach. Jim Melvin grew up in the country outside of the now famous Plains, Georgia. He graduated from Plains High School in 1957 and Georgia Southwestern Junior College, as it was known then, in 1959. Dr. Melvin earned a BS degree in secondary education with an emphasis in science from Valdosta State College. He holds master's and specialist degrees in education administration. He's certified at the master's degree level in physical education and holds the Doctor of Education degree with an emphasis in reading education from the University of Georgia. Dr. Melvin is married to Kay Cato, formerly of Americus and a graduate of the Georgia Southwestern School of Nursing. You were leading that applause for the School of Nursing, weren't you? Kay and Jim have 2 children and 6 grandchildren. The Melvins recently moved to Americus, where they own Giggles Frozen Yogurt. And there's an old saying that you can't go home again, but that has not been true for them. They love it here. At 76 years old, Dr. Melvin is the head of a 50s rock and roll band called Jammin' with Jimmy and the Shades. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. James E. Melvin.
Memories light the corners of my mind, misty watercolored memories of the way we were. I love applause. Go ahead. I don't know why. This is a beautiful room, and oh, the food was great. Give the cooks a hand, and whoever designed that. That's excellent. I asked Dr. Patterson, I had this urge to go check out a book or something. You're sitting there, and this is where Miss Macy Gray, this was the library, wasn't it? Right here? Was this the library? It wasn't. It was back there. It was here. This was the library. You know, I've got this urge to go check out a book. Miss Macy Gray was one of my favorite people, and something's named after her here, if I remember right. But she was a dandy. Billy Hendricks was my good friend, and I lived 8.5 miles south of Plains, Georgia, on a dirt road off a dirt road off a dirt road. And we rode to school each morning. I rode with Billy Hendricks, and he had a Studebaker. And we were poor people, and the brakes went out on the Studebaker. And not only did the brakes go out, the spring that would make the brakes come back somehow got lost. There was a hole in the bottom of the floor, and it got lost. So Billy was really innovative, and this is a true story. And I'm telling you, most of my true stories are not true. This one's true. So he tied some kind of rubber band around his ankle, and as you go down, when he had to stop, you had to pump the brakes. Well, the spring was gone. So it was in his hand, and he had this thing in his hand, and he would do this to stop the car. And one morning when we turned to pick up Miss Macy Gray. She would ride with us. She lived out somewhere near the prison. And so we were turning off, 280 or 82? Which is it? 280. As we were turning off 280 to go by and pick up Miss Macy, he couldn't slow down, so he was pumping as hard as he could to stop. And there was a big, some kind of utility truck on the side of the road, and we ran into the big back tire of that utility truck and bounced out and ended up in the ditch on the other side. We still got Miss Macy to work on time. I don't know how. She was a wonderful lady. Dr. Patterson, I love your word, intimacy. I've been looking for a word that would fit what I felt at Georgia Southwestern State University, and the word was intimate. There are many ways to be intimate, but here, when I came here, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, a little boy, and I wanted to play basketball. That's where my heart was. And we had a man named Coach Knight, and I loved him, and Coach Jack Robinson came to every practice, and Dr. Hart was the chemistry teacher, and they were good people, but they were there for us. I was scared. Plains, Georgia, my hometown, Americus was like New York City to us. It really was. It was downtown, you know. And great memories of going to the Martin Theater on Saturday morning and watching Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, and I loved Champ, his horse, and watching the serials that would be every Saturday, and we'd ride in the back of a truck to get here. And I came to Georgia Southwestern wondering, it was a junior college back then, I think approximately 250 students, somewhere around 250 students, a junior college. And I was afraid, I was scared, I was insecure. And the biggest fear was that maybe I couldn't compete. I wasn't sure. We had to compete with graduates from America's High School. And some of you went to America's High School, I'm sure. And if you went to school there, they had the strongest academic program. When you graduated from America's High School, you were prepared for college if you did well in high school. And I had to enroll, I was a science major, and I had to enroll in the same class with those kids who were so bright. And I was really insecure, afraid that I couldn't measure up. And they say that a good teacher is a person with knowledge and information of consequence, who's authentic and willing to be vulnerable. And Dr. Patterson, that's just what I found here. They were here for me. I ended up graduating from the University of Georgia with a doctorate degree. I'm certified smart by the University of Georgia. But they say every child who enters a classroom feels, a third grade child feels, I'm the dumbest one here, and somebody's going to find out. And you know, every time I stand up to speak, and I've been all over this country, I feel like I'm the dumbest one here, and somebody's going to find out. But then when you get up here and you look out over those warm faces and those warm eyes, an intimacy takes place, Dr. Patterson. I'm more interested in spiritual things than I am in religious things. And to me, the issue of spirituality is not you and me. It's us and we. And that's exactly what I felt at Georgia Southwestern State University. It was a place of us and we, and I loved it. You can't get from where I've been to where I've been from where I started without the help of a lot of people along the way. And I feel so good about this university. Hard to believe it's a university. It's a diamond in the middle of Sumter County, Georgia, Americus, Georgia, a great place to be. I came to a ball game, sat down from Dr. Patterson and his wife, and we won. It's still we. I'm still a hurricane. Not only did it get me through junior college with pretty good grades, went on to Valdosta State College, which is now a university, on a basketball scholarship because I played here. Didn't know how I was going to get to school. I had not a clue of how I was going to make it. My folks just didn't have the money to send me. But praise God, there was a little ladies' Sunday school class at First Methodist Church in Americus, Georgia, who raised the money to give this little fella who had been an honor graduate from high school scholarship to go to college. And it paid my way through. Didn't know how I was going to get through. Came out not owing a penny. And then because I played basketball here, one day at our little old block house, went out to the mailbox and opened the mailbox, and there in the mailbox was a little letter with a little rebel up on the left-hand corner. And it said, Mr. Jimmy Melvin. It's a letter to me. That was unusual. Took it back in the house, and with shaking hands, I opened it. And there it said, Dear Jimmy, we would like to offer you a full scholarship to go to Valdosta State University. It was a college then, to play basketball. You know, you don't ask God how. You just tell him what you want. I think the biggest problem in our world today is we don't really know what we want. Most people just don't know. And it changes as you move along. You know what I want now more than anything? I want harmony, and I want a feeling of unity. I want a feeling of usness and we-ness. And my biggest goal in life now, we have a heart chakra. They say we have 7 or 8 chakras. Can't even spell the word. But in your heart chakra, it's easy to close your heart, Sparky. It's easy to do that. But now I want more than anything to keep an open heart. And the opposite of that is a closed heart. There's a story about Thorvaldsen, the great sculptor, Danish sculptor. I love the story. And he was going to make a sculpture of Jesus Christ as the Savior, the most powerful man who had ever lived. And so he took his time and he made that sculpture, and it was beautiful. It was powerful. The fists were clenched. There was power in his eyes and power in his glance and power in his stance. And that night after he'd finished, he felt great about it. But he made the mistake of leaving the window open, and he was next to the ocean, the salt air. And the salt air came in that night, moist. And when Thorvaldsen came back the next morning and opened his studio and looked at the great, powerful statue, the air, the salt air had come in, and the arms had dropped, the hands had opened, the face had softened, the head had bowed. And he named the statue, Come Unto Me, the most famous statue ever sculpted of Jesus Christ to this day. And that's what Georgia Southwestern did for me. It opened its arms to a scared little fellow As a basketball coach and a teacher and a superintendent, a principal for so many years, I dealt with thousands of children. And I tried to do it with a simple philosophy. I tried to catch them doing good and reinforce the behavior I wanted them to repeat. And as I think back on my time here, I was caught doing good. And it reinforced, who am I to be speaking to Georgia Southwestern State University, 8.5 miles south of Plains, Georgia, off a dirt road? Who am I? I asked Karen when she called. I said, are you sure? I said, why would you do that? And she said, well, you speak all over the country. Why not here? And that's number one. And I said, well, what's number two? She said, there were two reasons. And I said, well, what's number two? And she said, well, number two is probably the most important. You're cheap. You live here. Six men were trapped by happenstance in dark and bitter cold. The dying fire needed logs, or so the story's told. Each man possessed a stick of wood. The first man held his back, for of the faces round the fire he noticed one was black. The next man, looking round the group, saw not one of his church. He couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. The third man was dressed in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should he give his stick of wood to warm the idle rich? The rich man sat back and counted the wealth he had in store and thought of how he could keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The last man of this forlorn group gave naught except for gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. The fire held tight, the logs held tight in death's cold hands, gave proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without. They died from the cold within. If there's anything I've come to understand about life, is that those who bless shall be blessed. I grew up in Hebron Baptist Church, and every time the door opened, my mama would have us there. And there were certain themes who ran through that Southern Baptist education. But what you sow, you shall reap, was probably the one I got. Next to that was love your neighbor as yourself. I don't now have so much trouble loving my neighbor, but I struggle a little bit with me because I know the wacko stuff that I do. I came here tonight not to talk too loud or too wise. I came here just to open my heart and let you see in so that we might build a bridge between my heart and yours, and we might be willing and able to cross over and love it and make love with each other. To do what President Patterson said, to be intimate. I'm thankful for all the people along the way who caught me doing good, who reinforced the behavior they wanted to be. Rich, if you knew everything about me, you wouldn't even let me in the room. We went to Central Baptist Church last Sunday, and this couple came up and said, everybody seems to know you. Who are you? And I said, well, I'm Jimmy Melvin. This is my wife, Kay. And she said, oh, I've heard about you. And I said, lady, that never got past the grand jury. I'll close with this. When I was a senior in high school, it was so big at Plains High School. Chapel program was a big thing. Oh, it was huge. And at Plains High School, we weren't academically as strong as the America's high school was. But apple pie and motherhood was a big thing. Yes sir, no sir was a big thing. Never struggled with that one. To honor, to love your neighbor as yourself. And it was talked about every day in school. Miss Julia Coleman called me out one day, and She called me up to the front. She was the famous English teacher who Jimmy Carter has said he would never have been president had it not been for Miss Julia Coleman. What an inspiration she was. But she would have us memorize poetry and present it at chapel program, and I had to do a number over the years. But I select this one for tonight in my closing remarks to you. It's called The Bridge Builder by an anonymous author. What you don't get credit for on earth, you will get credit for in heaven. So I love anonymous authors. It goes like this. An old man going a lone highway. I find that we are somehow alone in our aloneness. We can temporarily come out and become us and we. An old man going a lone highway came in the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm vast, deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fears for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you're wasting strength with building here. Your journey will end at the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you the bridge at the eventide?" The old man raised his old gray head and said, "Good friend, in the path I've come," he said, "there followeth after me this day a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm which has been naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building the bridge for him." Thank you, Miss Julia. Thank you, Miss Macy. Thank you, Coach Knight. Thank you, Coach Jack Robinson. Thank you, Dr. Hart. Thank you, Georgia Southwestern University, for what you did for me in such an intimate way. God bless.
He deserves the standing ovation. How wonderful. Thank you for sharing those memories, those stories, inspirational words. You may be cheap, but you were good. Now we're happy to move into the program, the awards portion of the evening. So I'm going to invite the Dean of the School of Business, Liz Wilson, to present our first award. Dr. Liz Wilson.
Thank you, Rita. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce one of my favorite former students. It seems like only last semester when I was with Shelley and the SIFE team in Kansas City at the National Students in Free Enterprise Convention, and I promised Shelley I would not talk about her nerves during the presentation, but I will say that she made it seem that Georgia Southwestern SIFE students had renovated the Windsor. It seems like only last semester that I was talking to her and the other HR students about the ABCDE of human resource management, and for those of you that don't know what that is, It's always be consistent and document everything. Will's over there nodding. And also, only last semester when I attended hers and Jason's wedding. I've known Shelley, when Rita and I were talking about this, she said, well, when did Shelley graduate? I said, 2003, 2004, and she called me back and she said, no, that would be 1998. So when you get my age, and I've been here this long, it kind of all does blend in together. Shelley has come a long way figuratively, if not literally, from the sweet little sorority girl from Cordele to being a CEO of one of the leaders in South Georgia healthcare. Let me share a little bit about her. She received her bachelor's degree from Georgia Southwestern in Human Resource Management in 1998 and received a Master of Science with a concentration in Healthcare Management from Troy State in 2003. After graduating from GSW, Shelley was hired as the HR Director for America's Counseling Service, went to Dooley Medical Center, and she moved on to Alumni Primary Healthcare Incorporated in 2001 as its Human Resources Director. She served in that capacity until 2005 when she was promoted to the Deputy Director. Last year in 2015, she accepted her current position as CEO with Albany Primary Healthcare Incorporated. Some of her accomplishments include 2015 Small Town America's 100 Most Influential People, 40 Under 40 for Dougherty County, a 213 Graduate of Leadership Albany, member of 2 Georgia's Campaign with Healthcare Georgia Foundation, chair of the Recruitment and Retention Committee for the Georgia Association of Primary Healthcare Incorporated, and for the and member of the Rural Committee, the Legislative Committee, and the Behavioral Health Committee of the National Association of Community Health Centers. Shelley is a Rotarian, and she is married to another one of our GSW alums, Jason Spires. They have 1 daughter, Sarah Beth. It gives me so much pleasure to recognize Shelley Spires as the School of Business Administration's first Outstanding Alumni Award recipient. You don't have a choice.
Okay, so I didn't renovate the Windsor, but we would have tried. There wasn't much you could put before us that we wouldn't try to break the barrier to accomplish. And as Dr. Melvin said, I sit here and listen to him, and it's amazing that I felt the same way when I came here in 1994. My story goes a little like this. In 1993, I wanted to go somewhere big. And so I said, I'm going to Georgia Southern University. My mom said, okay. And she cried all the way home as she dropped me off at my dorm. I was there a year, and my mom said, I think it's time you come home. I think you need something a little smaller, a little more intimate. And so I said, you're probably right. The funds are running out, so we got to go smaller. It was absolutely the best thing I could have ever done. As I talk about it with some of our employees who are looking to further their careers or their education, this is one of the places that I sell to them wholeheartedly. The one thing that I come here, and I was that person who came from a big school, and I came to a small school, and Dr. Wilson knew my name. I wasn't a number. They didn't say, fill out your number on your Scantron. They said, Shelley, you come get your test. And so it makes a big difference when you're more than just a number. And I was more than just a number at this school. From this, I considered myself to be somewhat introverted, believe it or not. But coming here, I was able to go through Rush and join a sorority, which was phenomenal. Kappa Delta all the way. That's what you do during homecoming. In fact, I was staring out this window recently, and I saw the students out there, and I thought, yeah, we were painting a window about this time in 1994, getting ready for homecoming. The other things that it allowed me to do is take part in the orientation team. So not only did I get to be in a school that I enjoyed participating in, I got to do some extracurricular things outside of academics. The orientation team taught me a lot, and for some reason they gave me the parents. And there's some things those parents didn't need to know. And so we'll just keep that a secret. But we had a great couple of years. I enjoyed my time on the orientation team. After that, I was asked to be a part of the host and marshal with the convocations. And so that was also an amazing opportunity that I probably wouldn't have got to experience at a bigger school. So as I was talking to someone whose child is at UAB this week, and we were discussing freshman year, she's a freshman, and she wanted to come home. She was homesick. And she said, I just don't know if she's ready for a big school. I said, it don't have to be a big school. There's opportunities right here where we live. And I told her about Georgia Southwestern and how much fun it was and how you're more than just a number and you have an opportunity to do so much more than you do in a big school. And so that's what I leave you with today. I'm very honored and humbled for this great award. The first ever? Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. So let's set the bar. I'm looking forward to seeing who the next recipient is and passing the gavel, if you will. And thank you, and not only am I honored, I'm very humbled. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Congratulations. Now I bring forward Dr. Boris Peltzberger from the School of Computing and Mathematics.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to present the award, Alumni Award, to Mr. Roy Skakit, the Chief Information Officer at Georgia Southwestern. He is former my student, and he was student in 1997 in undergraduate program, and in beginning 2001, 2002, he was graduate student. I have only 5 minutes to list all of his achievements. It's almost impossible. He was such student which we would like to keep as long as possible in university, in spite of progression and graduation requirements. He was a really outstanding student. Let me list his achievements. In this case, I know Royce since he was my student. The fact that he was a very good student is evidenced by his graduating magna cum laude 2001 with Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, receiving Outstanding Graduate Award for the School of Computer Information Science. He completed his Master's Science in Computer Science in 2004, and in that year he received Outstanding Service to School of Computer in Information Science Award. He also a member of Alpha Chi National College Honor Scholarship Society. Prior employment with GSW, Royce graduated from Columbus Technical Institute and Columbus College. He was employed as a certified senior broadcast engineer, holding the position of chief engineer at WRBL TV in Columbus, and engineering consultant with Siemens Electronics in Columbus. Along the way, Royce has received several certifications, to include Web CT Certified Administrator, Broadcast Engineer, and Senior Broadcast Engineer, Society of Broadcast Engineers, FCC First Class Radio Operator License. At GSW, Royce has held increasingly responsible position, leading to his being named Chief Information Officer in 2007. In this role, he serves on the President Cabinet, GSW Strategic Planning Committee, and Instructional Technology Advisory Committee, the Data Governance Committee, and Advisory Board for School of Computing and Mathematics. He also serves as an adjunct faculty member, teaching assembly programming language and computer applications. Under Roy's leadership, Georgia Southwestern State University has significantly upgraded the campus technology infrastructure, deployed a state-of-the-art virtualized data center environment, established extensive high-speed campus wireless network, and created foundation for university to leverage technology to meet 21st century needs for faculty, staff, and students. Going beyond GSW to the university system of Georgia, Royce currently serves as the secretary of the USG Chief Information Officer Advisory Council, and in the past, chair of USG Security Advisory Group, and co-chair of USG Endpoint Security Management Task Force. He is a 2014 graduate of USG Executive Leadership Institute and has received training from Board of Regents in the areas of IT leadership, continuity of operation planning, and information security. Closer to home, Royce served as a challenge course instructor for the Rotary Club Young's Leadership Academy from 2007-2012, and has served as an assistant Scout Master for the Boy Scouts of America. He also proud father of 2 Eagle Scouts. Those of us who work with Royce know that he is a colleague who always offers information technology support and is constantly focused on process of improvement. We are fortunate to have the leadership and expertise of Mr. Royce Hackett, and are proud to recognize him as a 2016 Outstanding Alumnus of the School of Computing and Mathematics.
Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Peltzberger. I remembered when I first walked into your data structures class, I said, what have I got myself into? I would like for y'all to join me in congratulating my fellow award winners tonight. What a great night for Georgia Southwestern. I want to thank my wife, Melinda. 19 years ago, Melinda convinced me to quit my job and apply for work at Georgia Southwestern so I could go back to school and follow my dreams. She said, "You can be whatever you want to be." I want to thank my brother Tom, who's here tonight. Tom, you've always been a mentor and an example for me. Thank you for that. Except for the time when you attempted to demonstrate that your idea of doing the housework was to swirl my head in the toilet. But they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so thank you for that too. I want to thank the IT support staff at Georgia Southwestern. It's been my privilege to work with that team for the last 19 years. You guys are the ones with the boots on the ground. You're the ones that built that state-of-the-art virtual data center that Dr. Peltzberger was talking about. You're the ones that built the network, and thank you for that. Cody's here tonight. Thank you, Cody. And Ted's here tonight. Thank you, Ted. Ted's got, is on Dr. Patterson's speed dial, so keeps that off my back. Thank you for doing that. I want to thank the faculty, staff of the Computer Science Department, Dr. Peltzberger, Dr. Yamilianoff, and Dr. Shaw and Monique Daniels. Thank you for guiding me through my bachelor's and master's degree in computer science. I want to thank the leadership of Georgia Southwestern and the faculty, staff, and students here. You have given me every challenge and opportunity that I could ask for. I want y'all to know that I could work around the clock every day from now until the day I retire, and I would not be able to give back to Georgia Southwestern what Georgia Southwestern has given to me. Thank you. I want to leave you tonight with the words of the philosopher Jack Benny. I really don't deserve this award, but I have arthritis and I don't deserve that either. Thank you.
Congratulations, Royce. It's interesting that we mentioned your Eagle Scouts as we moved into our next presentation. So at this time, I'm going to ask Michael Green, and assisted by Dr. Rachel Abbott, to present our next award.
Thank you. For the School of Education, our honoree is a 1976 Georgia Southwestern graduate who recently retired as the Assistant Chief Scout Executive and is the Vice President of the Boy Scouts of America. He began his scouting career in 1976 as a district executive in our own Chehaw Council. Many of us recognize that name from here. And he went on to serve as the Chief Executive Scout, that is the CEO of the council in Columbus. From there, he was promoted to the council in Richmond, Virginia, which is a much bigger council. And from there to Pittsburgh, which is a much bigger council even than that. From there, in 2007, he was promoted back home to be the Southern Region Director and was brought back to Atlanta. And then shortly after that, in 2012, he was sent to Texas as the Vice President of Scouting. And that's where he retired a few years ago when I think he reached 65 and with the birth of a grandson. Wasn't that it? Close, okay. He is married to Mary Ann, and they have two sons, Brad of Richmond, Virginia, and the Reverend Matthew Tuggle and his wife, Amy, and the grandson, Boyd, who live in Dallas, Texas. He still has America's roots. His brother, Jim, still lives here and has lived here since college days when we were all Pi Caps here. And his wife, Martha, and their boys live here. Now, the man we're honoring tonight is like most of us here. He started out small, and he's successful. The Boy Scouts of America is a large company, and anybody that does not believe that should talk to anybody who has seen its inside workings. Our honoree could have taken his talents to any Fortune 500 company and retired with a 401k worth millions of dollars. But instead, in 1976 and thereafter, he chose to invest his talents in the future of America's youth. And during his time with the Boy Scouts, 1,493,750 young men received their Eagle Scouts. The reason we're honoring this gentleman is because he chose to invest his future in our future and the future of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming my fellow Georgia Southwestern graduate, my fellow Pi Cap, and my fellow Scout, Alf Tuggle. Oh, okay.
more. Yeah. Mike, you know, the Pi Caps we have a blackball system. I don't ever remember voting on you. Thank you, David.
Sure thing, thank you.
I don't know which could be worse, being introduced by Mike Green or misspelling my name on the award. You got my name right. Wow, what a great evening. President Patterson, Alumni Affairs, faculty, friends, fraternity brothers, family, and guests. I hope you know what you're doing here because I haven't figured out why I'm here yet. But it is a distinguished award, and I accept it with humble appreciation and am truly honored. Congratulations to the other recipients. You're certainly more deserving than I am, as are so many other graduates of Georgia Southwestern. When I was interviewed recently by a member of the staff, I told her that my story is really no big deal. I'm just a boy from a small town in Georgia who went off and did well. And somewhere along the way, I hope I did some good. And there are a lot of people here that I would really like to introduce. I'd really like to tell you a lot of stories about some of the people here, but certainly time won't allow that. But I do want to introduce a couple of people. If you knew me when I walked the grounds of Georgia Southwestern College, you knew two other people. You could not know me without knowing two other people. One of them is Alan Bowles Fort, known to us as Space. We were roommates. We lived in the Pi Cap house on Taylor Street most of our careers. We did it all. We did school, we did work, we did fraternity, we did cheerleading. Whatever we did it together, and we did it with gusto. And I told him that I would come tonight only if Alan Fort came. And so I made him come. Alan's a distinguished educator in the state of Georgia. He's done it all. He's been a coach, a principal, a superintendent, a teacher, and now working in the private sector, all for the education of the young people of Georgia. You should be proud to have him and his alumnus. The second one, if you knew me, you knew Mary Ann Simmons. I met Mary Ann in 1972, and I knew a few months later that she would be the person that I would spend the rest of my life with. Last week, we celebrated our 39th wedding anniversary. Hallelujah. I told that staff member that my story really was no big deal, but it was a journey that started some 45 years ago in 1971 when I left home and came to Georgia Southwestern and realized that there was another family for me. And somebody wake up Stick. I see him right now. So after my journey at Georgia Southwestern, I continued that journey and entered the career service of Boy Scouts of America. Never did I dream that I would stay there 37 and a half years and have the opportunities that I did. Alan and I were talking about earlier today, we took a accounting class together. Best C we ever made. And to retire as the Chief Financial Officer and Assistant Chief Scout Executive, man, I know that professor said, how did that boy ever make it that far? But through the Boy Scouts of America, I was blessed to work with some of the finest people in America. Community leaders, top corporate leaders, political leaders, all committed to the best youth development organization in America. Boy Scouts of America gave me the opportunity to travel to most of the states and overseas a few times. 2 years ago, my journey turned to retirement. Actually, Mike, I turned 60 in September and decided, I always said if I could, I would, and I realized I could, so I did. And at age 60, I retired. Retirement consists of taking care of grandsons, playing a little golf, and doing a lot of fishing, and I do not regret retirement a single day. The journey's been a good one, and I hope it'll last a little longer. But it all started right here at Georgia Southwestern, where I learned about responsibility, leadership, being a part of a family larger than my own. Campus involvement, and especially Pi Kappa Phi fraternity, gave me the opportunity to establish relationships, develop leadership, and to feel responsibility. And tonight reminds me that the years here were some of the best years along that journey. So, on your life journey, may God give you the courage to move forward and to protect your back, and to give you at least 2 good friends to enjoy the trip along the way. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Alf, and thank you to all the Pi Caps who came out this evening in support of him. Now I'll turn the program over to Dr. Kelly McCoy, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences.
It's my honor tonight to present the 2016 Outstanding Alumni Award from the College of Arts and Sciences to Brigadier General Thomas Carden, the commander of the Georgia Army National Guard. General Carden enlisted in the National Guard as an infantryman in 1986 while he was still a senior in high school. He viewed the military service as a means to serve a purpose higher than himself and ultimately to get a college education. When he came to Georgia Southwestern, he was married and working 48 hours and was not a traditional student. He has recalled events like getting off his job as a prison guard at 5 o'clock in the morning and then coming to class at 8 a.m. right after that. He credits the caring faculty at GSW with his success in college, and especially the late Dr. Harold Isaacs, who he says was a tremendous educator and leader. After graduating from GSW with a bachelor's in history in 1992, General Carden continued with the Guard part-time while he worked full-time as a parole officer. He joined the Guard full-time in 1996 and went on to earn a master's in strategic studies from the United States Army War College and a master's in human resource management from Webster University. He has held many key positions in the National Guard, leading to commander, and has received several military decorations in his career, including the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the Parachutist Badge, and the Combat Infantry Badge. General Carden credits his family, especially his wife, Charlene, his wife of 27 years, and along with his high school coaches and spiritual leaders for character building. He believes that as human beings, we should be in the get better business every day and to surround ourselves with people who challenge us to do that. His primary objectives for the Georgia Guard are readiness, relevancy, and global engagement. The Georgia National Guard fulfills those objectives in many ways that make us all proud. Among their units are aviation, infantry, intelligence, engineering, artillery, combat service support, and water purification. Recently, in a highly competitive process, the Georgia National Guard was selected as one of the first 3 National Guard states to field a cyber protection team. This selection is a testament to the soldiers of the Georgia National Guard. Georgia Southwestern is known as an institution where leaders emerge. Brigadier General Thomas Carden is an outstanding example of that.
Thank you all very much. It's an honor to be here. And just since my two children are here, I just want to let y'all know this is not an academic award. Just in fairness to them, but I don't have a lot to say other than just to tell you that anything I ever do, ever hope to be, is about the good Lord, good people, good timing, a great family, and many opportunities that started here at Georgia Southwestern. I appreciate the leadership that Dr. Patterson brings here. Having watched this university over the years through my career, staying connected to home, I couldn't be more proud of the leadership, sir, that you're bringing at Georgia Southwestern State University. And I'm very proud of you and proud of everything this staff is doing to invest in the future of not only Southwest Georgia and the state of Georgia, but the United States. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, General Pardon. Now with this last award, we may need some technical assistance to prepare for it, and I hope we don't have to call on Royce and Ted because we made sure it all worked earlier today. So, Kim, what do we do? I know Sandra's going to introduce it, but I thought we had to get it ready for her. She knows what to do. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to introduce Dr. Sandra Daniel, Dean of the School of Nursing, and let her take care of it.
Thank you, and I just hope this plan works with the technology, but we have plenty of support if it doesn't. It is my privilege to present to you the recipient of the School of Nursing's 2016 Outstanding Alumni Award, Dr. Patricia Lee Stark. She graduated from Georgia Southwestern in 1959 with an associate degree in nursing. Those of you who know Pat will likely agree with me that the reason that GSW's nursing program has earned a reputation of excellence is due to our alumni who have excelled in our discipline. Dr. Stark is without a doubt an exemplar of excellence. Sandra Wardell, one of Dr. Stark's classmates at GSW, recalled that whenever the class learned that someone had earned an A or occasionally a 100 on a nursing exam, everyone knew it was Patsy, as she is known by her family and close friends. Pat did share some information recently about herself, even though she was a bit hesitant to do so due to her Southern upbringing, which discourages a lady to brag about herself. She told us that when she graduated from GSW and took her state licensing exam to become a registered nurse, she scored the highest in the state in 2 of the 5 areas that were tested at the time. She credits that success to one of her faculty members and her superb teaching of Miss Mary Green. And I will invite you to look at the portrait of Miss Mary Green. And if she had taught me, indeed, I would have been intimidated enough to excel in my studies. After graduation from Georgia Southwestern, Pat immediately continued her nursing education, completing both her Bachelor and Master of Science in Nursing degrees from Emory University. From there, she began teaching and taught in our nursing program during the late 60s and through the mid-70s. In 1979, she received her PhD from the University of Alabama in Birmingham. Sandra Wardell also remembers Pat to be the first Georgia Southwestern nursing graduate to earn a doctorate degree in nursing. On a personal note, I was privileged to have had Pat teach me community health nursing during my own studies at Georgia Southwestern. She was a passionate teacher, and especially about her specialty area of rehabilitative and community health nursing, and I give her credit for stimulating my own interest in that field, in that specialty, which I later pursued in practice and in my own graduate studies. After completing her doctoral education, Pat's career trajectory began to focus on nursing education, leadership, and administration. She served as the Dean of School of Nursing at Troy State University for 5 years, and in 1984, she assumed the position as Dean at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. For over 30 years, she has served in that capacity, and during her tenure there, she has held endowed professorships and chair positions. In 2013, she also assumed a new role as Senior Vice President for Interprofessional Collaboration, and she continues to work full-time in both of these roles. She has continued her education over the years and completed postdoctoral studies in selected specialty areas in nursing, administration, and educational leadership at a number of prestigious universities, including Duke, University of North Carolina, Harvard, and Rice universities. As a scholar and researcher, Pat excels, and her work is quite impressive. Her clinical and educational research has been published extensively in professional journals and in textbooks. Her research has focused on pain management, human suffering, psychotherapy, spinal cord injuries, and in nursing education. She has also been awarded and served as principal investigator on a number of federal, state, and local grants. As an educator and leader, she has also received numerous honors and recognition and mentored newly appointed deans in their roles nationwide. Here are just a few examples. In 2014, she received the President's Award from the Texas Nurses Association. She was inducted into the University of Texas Academy of Health Science Education in 2012, and in that same year was recognized as Distinguished Teaching Professor of the University of Texas System. In 2010, she was named the Visionary Leader of the University of Alabama in Birmingham School of Nursing. In 2003, she was named the Griffin Bell Distinguished Lecturer at our own Georgia Southwestern University. She has conducted over 150 speeches on healthcare reform at the state and national levels. Pat continues to serve on numerous statewide, national, and international boards, committees, and task forces. Indeed, she is known as a highly respected leader in healthcare. She is a member of the American Academy of Nursing, a long-standing member and past president of the Southern Regional Educational Board College Council on Collegiate Education for Nursing, has chaired several committees, and served on the board of directors at the American Association of Colleges of Nursing. She was a member of President Clinton's Task Force on Healthcare Reform and is currently a member of the University of Texas System Academy of Health Science Education. I can personally attest that at regional and national meetings involving nursing leaders and administrators, whenever Pat speaks, everyone listens as she shares her knowledge, her experience, and her wisdom. In summary, Pat is the epitome of excellence in nursing education, and in health care. We can all be proud to know that her Georgia Southwestern educational journey prepared and led her to a very successful career and her outstanding professional achievements. Although Pat is unable to be with us this evening, she sent her videotaped remarks and her brother, Tucker Rush, to accept an award on her behalf. At the conclusion of her comments, Tucker will join me at the podium, please. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you, in absentia, Dr. Patricia Lee Stark.
Hello, this is Pat Stark, and I am talking to you from Texas. I'm unable to attend tonight's event, although I wish I were there. I will be speaking in Austin at about the same time, so I cannot be with you there in Americus. But I do want to thank you for this award of the Outstanding Alumni for the School of Nursing at Georgia Southwestern, and to tell you how much this means to me. Georgia Southwestern has always been a part of my life. I grew up in Americus and always knew about the college and have had many, many family members attend. I was in the 4th class of the Associate Degree in Nursing program, which was fairly new in the country at that time, so I think that the president of Georgia Southwestern was really far ahead of his time in setting up this program. It was a 3-year program at that time because the Georgia Board of Nursing required 36 months of nursing education. So I spent quite a bit of time there on the college campus. And I want to tell you that my education at Georgia Southwestern has served me extremely well. I graduated in 1959, and here it is, 2016. I'm still working full-time, and really the education I received at Georgia Southwestern, not only in nursing and not only in the sciences, but also in English and history and the other courses that I took throughout my time there, have served me well, a good foundation for getting the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, and also the doctoral degree. And in my work every day, as I think back over pathophysiology or the problems that we're encountering, the anatomy and so forth that I was taught back at Georgia Southwestern is still the foundation that I draw on. I want to again thank you so much for the honor, and I wish you well in this evening, and I hope to see you sometime in the future on campus. Thank you.
Well, just listening to all the recipients, Dr. Melvin, you set the stage. Service to community. Georgia Southwestern is producing those students that do that. That's our job, give back. Small college, Southwest Georgia, producing great things. That will never be forgotten. And please remember Georgia Southwestern and all that you do. I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. I took my first teaching job, South Georgia Tech here in Americus. I came in, I think I was like about 26, 27. I wasn't there a year, and I took it's kind of like a side job, a consultant with the Department of Juvenile Justice led by South Georgia Tech. At the time, Sparky Reeves was the Vice President of Economic Development, and he brought me in. At the time, I didn't know he was a Southwestern graduate, but he brought me in, and he empowered me by the way he handled me when working with this program. Because his saying was, we're gonna go at it, and if it don't work, we'll back up and reload. And when I started supervising instructors, I would often have to interview them, and he would be the last person to meet them because at this point he was the president. And I just seen something about a week ago from what I consider as a great principal in the metro Atlanta area. And he made a statement. He said he has a tutoring program for some of his boys. And he said, it makes you feel good when a kid that you've taught and you stand around the corner and you hear them stating what you've said. It lets you know that what you've done has sunk in. Sparky. I listened to his spiel when he would talk to our new instructors when they first came in so many times. I caught myself saying the same things to people. When we bring our kids in, we want them here. We're moving and we've got to do what we got to do to get them here. That's a Southwestern graduate. And that's what I want to be able to say. And what I want to do is when people look at me and they say, he comes from Southwestern. So Sparky, thank you. And I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Just remember that good old Georgia Southwestern when you're out in this world. Always remember to look back. Anything you can do to help one of our graduates, remember, it's your duty to look out for those who are coming behind you. And I'll turn it over to Rita Rouse to deliver, because I'm quite sure she remembers quite a bit more that we've got going on than I do. But Rita, thank you.
Thank you, Lamont. You can see why he's president of the Alumni Association. Well, speaking of that, tomorrow there's a lot of events happening on campus. If you haven't registered for the fun run in the morning, I believe people are going to be out here quite early, 6:45, 7 o'clock, getting ready for the run that begins at 8. At the walk at 8, the run at 8:30. There'll be basketball games. There's a tailgate before the games. There'll be an alumni board meeting in the middle of all that too. There will be baseball, softball. No lack of activity on campus tomorrow, so I hope to see all of you out here again. We're so privileged to have everyone with us this evening and honored by your remarks, your comments, and if we weren't Georgia Southwestern fans when we came into the room, we certainly should leave that way. And it takes a lot of people to put an evening like this together, and I thank each and every one of you for your part. But none more so than the Office of Alumni Affairs. Karen Holloway and Kim Comer, please stand. They've done their best. They've worked so hard these last few weeks and months. They've seen to every detail, and I hope you noticed that, down to the mask on the tables. Everything was taken care of by them, and they did a great job, and I just want them to know how much we all appreciate it. We're only able to accomplish the things that we do in the foundation and in the Alumni Affairs Office because of your support and contributions, and for all of that, we're grateful. The next alumni reunion weekend is April 9th, so after you get finished tomorrow, you leave, you start thinking, gosh, I wonder what's happening at Georgia Southwestern that I could get back to. It'll be then, and Karen and Kim have booked a very funny comedian for you for that evening, so you won't want to miss it. And with a final congratulations to all of our recipients, we're adjourned, but I also have two things that I need to do before that. I got so excited by Dr. Melvin's comments, I forgot to give him our gift for speaking. So, Mr. Mel. We thank you. And we would like to have a photograph of all of the award recipients with President Patterson, so if you'll come up, pose for that. And then Stephen has offered to take any other pictures that you might like to have, so he's here with his camera. Let him know if there's other photos that you want. Karen and Kim are waving at me. Door prizes, I knew I would forget something. Door prizes are the lovely flowers that are on your table. And if your chair has, is it a rib? What is it, Karen? It's a round sticker on the front lip of your chair. If that's you, you get to take that plant home with you. So if we can have all of our award recipients up at the front, please. Did I leave out anything else? No? Thank you all again. We appreciate it.